Welcome, folks, to episode 230 of The Morgue, the official CorpseFeed podcast. And I am Arturo Padilla, the guy behind the face. And with me, always, is Mr. Nick Valdez. Tex, how are you, buddy?
Oh man, howdy everybody, howdy Arturo. We are back, and thankfully, we've done our super shows last couple weeks and gotten through a lot of movies, but we just kind of had to immediately come back because I just can't wait to talk about what we're
We
talking
had to
about
get our
today.
act together for you guys,
Yeah,
specifically for this movie.
yeah. So let's get to the coming attractions first, because I really want to get to the main combo,
Absolutely.
right? So our coming attractions first, we have the trailer, the first teaser trailer for Squid Game season 3,
AKA
so
season 2.1 or something. Like, what is
yeah.
this season 3 nonsense?
We've talked about this before when it came to Last of Us Part 2 and Wednesday, where Wednesday's coming back for season 2 and splitting it in two pieces. And Squid Game, yeah, it's at least a season 3, right? It's not being marketed as oh, this is part 2 of season 2, right? So I guess that's the one thing above it, but also it feels like it's basically going to be part 2, right?
Yeah, we're in the same story still.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
literally in the same location at the same time.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
It looks like this teaser, just avoiding major spoilers for season 2 just in case you haven't caught up, but you want to by the time season 3 comes out, because we'll be going over the whole thing. But this is basically immediately after season 2, just everything tells you that they immediately got control back of the games themselves, and then the next one kicks in, and it's
But
already
I mean, we saw how it ended. This is definitely the next hour. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Of
this
that
is
day.
this is literally 5 minutes later, right?
Yeah, so
This is,
calling
yeah.
it season 3, it's very I hate I
It's
think
very marketing
yeah, we
focused,
definitely spoke
right?
about this on the last episode, how it's just getting on my nerves how these seasons are just being cut up, especially when
Yeah.
they cut the story off completely. Like in Squid Game here, it's like, hey, you left us at a very kind of awesome point of the story. Why not just finish it in that same season? Why drag it on to June, like months later? What if it's a shooting thing? If it's they need to shoot that part of the show, which I doubt it because it's the same
Yeah,
year.
it's in the same location, it's in the same I doubt we're gonna see much more of the world of Korea
Yeah.
around this, right? So it's and even then, the seasons don't really matter, right?
No,
In
they
terms
don't.
of the environment, they really don't. Season 1 ended on that snow scene or
Mhm.
whatever, and that
In the
was just
winter, yeah.
yeah, and it's also who cares? That's not really a big deal. And I think you're right, Arturo, in that is if there was a production reason behind splitting it up, then maybe. If this really is a full slate of 8 episodes, but season 2 wasn't even that. That was
No,
the
it
thing,
wasn't.
right? Season
Yeah.
2 came back with 7. And it's
Yep.
and that's the thing. And when it ended, we were immediately yeah, this was good, but also, why didn't you just end it? If
Mhm.
season 3 is legit 4 or 5 episodes, then it's it's the debate's over. This is part 2, and we're always going to call it part 2. And regardless of how good it is, we're going to be why did you just give it to us last year? Right? I That's a shame. That's the asterisk over it for just just got man. I don't know, Arturo. I don't know
Yeah,
how I'm feeling.
it's kind of again, I'm going on a tangent here about just how these streamers are
Right.
doing are structuring their sitcoms and their episodic, shows because when you go on a regular TV show, like a TV channel, I'm sorry, like Channel 4, CBS, NBC, the usual ABC, those
Mhm.
sitcoms are run like freaking sitcoms, right? Like
Yeah.
you get a season of them, you get like 20 some odd episodes, and you're done for the year until the next season, until the next year. So, but these streamers, man, they're really just trying to take advantage so much of the audience, in my opinion. It's like, oh, it doesn't matter. We got them anyway. We'll make them wait. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
but you make me
Yeah.
wait. I lose interest. So it's on you now to get me back in the saddle here. I was fully invested with Squid Game season 2. It was
Right.
a great 7 episodes, and the fact that it ended where it did, you're like, holy crap, I gotta see more. But then it's like 6 months later. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
What do I care about it? Because now I've seen Last of Us now. I've seen Invincible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All this content now. You want me to get back on the saddle for Squid Game? I'm like, all right, you better try hard. And that really, listen, that first episode, bro, has to hit. It has to.
Yeah, that's super true. Because season 2, we kind of let it go, basically. Like, because that first episode, honestly, like when you look back at season 2, it's like, yeah, this was solid, but it was mostly like the promise of continuing the main story we want to see, right? Like when you compare it to the very first episode of the show, like the reason why it's so popular, because that episode was so strong with that red light, green light thing.
Yep.
We were all instantly like, yo, let's do it. And then episode 2 followed that up with that super depressing like episode where they all decided to go back. Yeah. And we're like, all right, this is perfect television. Can't wait to see it. And then you're right. It just kept going. And it kept going at such a way that Netflix is like, who cares when these come out? People will see them. And like, that's the problem with their model in general, right? Because they throw them out. They know people watch them over the course of like a weekend. They kind of like make all their decisions based on that, right? Like they look at that first week, see how many hours something was streamed, and then figure out whether or not they want to keep it going, right? So many shows get canceled because they come out and, they don't hit those high marks within the first week or so. If it's not in the top 10 when it debuts, don't expect a season 2. Like, that's kind of the deal.
Yeah.
And like, the thing with Netflix is like, these shows come out, they take forever to come back. And it's the hope, they have the hope of like, oh, we have them anyway. Anyone who didn't see it could just watch it whenever they want to and then watch it that way, right? Like, this is why they had success with sitcoms. And then they'll throw a sitcom on Netflix, it jumps to top 10 because people are like, oh yeah, I can watch this whenever, it doesn't matter. But the thing with that type of production is, Arturo, like you said, where it's like, you really got to try hard to get me into this new season. You got to try so much harder to get us back. So I think you're 100%
especially,
right.
Especially when it releases, Tex. Like, this is gonna be like summer blockbuster season once again, folks. Like
there's so much out.
Legitimately going into a summer blockbuster this year. Like, it hasn't been like this in several years. We have a lot of content coming up.
Yeah, like when you talk about competing content, because here, right, we do TV and movies and talk about them on the same platform, right? We don't separate the categories. And Squid Game season 3 comes out June 27th. And like a couple of days later,
I'm sorry, I'll be busy watching Megan 2.0 that day.
Yeah, yes. Like, that's the thing. It's like, it's celebrating Arturo's birthday, and it's like, yo, like, it's cool, but also it's like, yeah, you got Megan 2.0, you got Superman coming in July, you got Fantastic Four like a couple of days after. So it's like, it's gonna, like, especially here, it's gonna get swallowed up by whatever we're talking about that week.
Listen,
so
it's
good luck.
It's gonna end up in a future presentation, right?
Right.
But like, folks, like this month of May alone, it's full of content. July, June, when Squid Game comes out. So I am curious to see how the environment, the environment of the media, of the visual media, is going to be like, because we're also getting Stranger Things from Netflix as well this summer, right?
You're right, because if you listen to our super shows the last couple of weeks, like there's just so much, and we can't get to everything, right? And it's like, if Squid Game season 3 isn't great, we might just be like, all right, we'll talk about it when we talk about it.
Listen,
like,
I just hope it doesn't end up in the coming attractions segment of the show, right? Because that means it was like an afterthought.
Yeah. Sorry to say, this is
probably the afterthought.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's probably a bad segue, but yeah. So we got a new trailer for How to Train Your Dragon, and I don't know how to feel because it is just the animated one.
That's exactly what I was telling my wife too, because I was like, hey, look, it's a new trailer for this, and she was looking at it. She's like, oh, it looks great. And I'm like, yeah, it looks exactly like the DreamWorks movie we just saw several years ago in theaters.
Yeah, and it sucks because I'm in that boat where like I saw that first one in theaters and I
Yes.
saw it in like 3D. I
Yeah,
saw
me
like
too.
I did the whole kit and
I've seen
caboodle, right?
all 3, dude. I
Yeah,
think in IMAX 3D.
dude, and they're great. I remember like
Yes.
the scene shown in this trailer specifically. I remember my mind being blown, like
Yes.
because it was just perfect 3D, perfect like just it's cinema.
The
Like it's literally
visuals
like
were absolutely gorgeous, and this is what's so
yes,
confusing. Like, the dragon CG and the rendering you see here in this live action movie looks exactly like the animated movie. So I'm like, what are we
yeah,
doing here? And then there was one scene in particular where Hiccup was inside the arena, right? Facing
yeah.
a dragon coming at him. It looked completely computerized. And I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
Like,
because
DreamWorks, what
it's
are we doing? If anything, get a part 4 out here or something. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
because at least when you look at Lion King, right? You look at Lion King, you're like, it's the same movie. You literally just change the animation. But
Mhm.
at least in Lion King, they like looked realistic, so they
Yeah.
had it like they had something
Yes, it
different.
was a different visual.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and here, like Toothless, I guess they did their best to make it look like these dragons in the real world, but also they still very much look like the animated movie. Like it's just like all they did was add like more scaling and like the
Yeah, like a little bit more high definition rendering to the scales, and you know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah,
But,
because
like, again,
I really bet an animated version, like if they just found a way to do a part 4 somehow
that's it.
with the dragons in this kind of style, I bet it would have worked. Like, like
Yeah,
but
I'm just honestly, man, like, yes, I'm gonna see it. My kids wanna see it, of
oh,
course. We're
of
gonna talk
course,
about it
like
here.
that's
But I
yes.
am really kind of just like, why are we doing this again here?
What's
Like,
yes, a
it's
thousand percent.
we're literally getting the same exact movie, and honestly, like, the 3D animation in those CG movies was so good that
Yeah.
I don't think the live action one is gonna look as good because of just how physics works.
Yeah, and like and these movies aren't really made for 3D in the same way anymore. Like
Correct.
because that's not a thing that they advertise anymore. That's not a thing people want to go to theaters. And it's like it's not in that time. And that's the difference between that original one too. It was in that pocket of like everything's 3D, everything's 4D, whatever, but like they did their best. And
Yeah, they
those
did the
first
3D
ones
well. Yeah.
yeah, and those animated movies especially were the best kinds. And it's why movies like Avatar, I mean, call it what you will, it is an animated movie,
Mhm.
and this is why that works, and it's stuff like that where it's like, man, like how are they gonna do it? Is it gonna be the same movie? Like, are we gonna be able to tell it's the same movie? Like, and it sucks because they're making these for that, they're doing that Epic Universe park where they have like a How to Train Your Dragon area and they
Yeah.
have that Toothless there, and it's like we know why they're making this. Like that's not the question. The question is not why, but why. Like
Yeah.
ultimately, like
Why?
creatively,
Like,
what?
yeah, like,
Yeah,
why it's like you mentioned, Tex, like, why not just make a 4th, right? Why
yeah.
not
Just find
have
a
toothless babies flying around or something now? You
yeah.
know what I mean?
Do
Like
pull the Shrek and just
they
call it like How to Train Your Dragon again or something like
they
that or
really,
whatever.
like, just have no new creativity for this, which is wild
Yeah,
because it's dragons, bro. Like,
yeah.
it's like the peak of creativity. It's
Yeah,
fantasy. You know what I
and it
mean?
sucks because like, aren't these based off of books too? Where it's like,
Uh,
oh, okay, so there aren't like there isn't a book somewhere of this that they could have like made
it is
into a
based on a book
movie.
series, right?
Yeah, like the Dragons of Burke or something like that.
Oh,
So
so
it's like,
why
yeah,
find the author? Have them
yeah,
write
because
something new, you know?
yeah,
Jesus.
if I distinctly remember, like during the credits, it's always like inspired by whatever, or based on whatever. So it's like I'm in that boat, Arturo. I don't know what's going on. This is
I
just one
don't
of
know
those
either,
like
man.
yeah, they're pulling a Disney, and I think that's why I'm so cynical about it. Is
Yeah,
because
because
it's like
because
DreamWorks
it's
was
a
at
money grab,
least
dude. It's
yeah,
literally a money grab, which is, like, very annoying because you're not adding anything new artistically to this story, or so we think right now. It remains to be
yeah,
seen. We'll find out when we see it in theaters. I do hope there is some variation of some kind,
yeah.
you know?
Give us something that makes this movie different.
Yes.
Like it makes it its own thing. Make it necessary, right?
Yeah.
And it sucks because you're right, Arturo. Like DreamWorks, it's the money grab for them, and it's the first one where it's like blatant. Because before, when they wanted a money grab, they would just do another Shrek, they would just do another Kung Fu Panda or Madagascar, and it's like, okay, so you ran out, and now you're just like, and it's the same company that put out like the Wild Robot, in the
Which
same
is
span of
wild, right?
time,
Like,
right?
no
Yes.
pun intended, like, because that's like a legit, like, original animated movie. So, what are we doing here?
And then you do that, then you do this, and it's like,
Yeah.
one step forward, one step back. And it's like,
That's how it
man,
is,
yeah,
Tex, in this industry. You guys know how it goes, folks. But speaking of different,
yes,
and speaking of something unique, the next up in our coming attractions is the trailer for Together. It is the movie by with Dave Franco and Allison Brie, who are actually a married couple. So I cannot wait to see what these
oh
performances.
really?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
cannot
I
wait
had
to
no
see
idea.
what these
So
performances are like. Because
yeah,
this trailer looks absolutely wild, Tex.
yeah, because it's like, it would explain the chemistry already. Because
Yes.
it's like, because quite literally, from what I can tell from the premise of the movie through this trailer, is that there's some kind of, it looks to me like a curse or a cult thing, or like maybe it's a witch thing. Whatever it is, it's pulling them literally physically together. Like it's
Yeah.
putting their bodies together. And I kind of want to see what that is, because that's super interesting. But
Body
also
horror,
it's like,
baby. We love body
yeah,
horror
because
here at the Morgue.
there is some teases that we're gonna get some gnarly stuff. So like that's the hope, right? Of like, okay, can these visuals like actually come through? Like, is it practical? Is it like, it kind of looks like it's gonna be practical, as much as it can be,
Yeah. Yeah.
and but
Um,
like,
I don't know, man, but honestly, like, this is what we're talking about when it comes to like film, right? And going to the
right,
theaters, seeing something different, something unique, something original. This is why we had to bash on How to Train Your Dragon, because there's nothing original there. But here
yeah.
we are talking about original horror, Neon again, like, what's going on, Neon?
I
Like,
mean,
hit or miss over here for Neons, so
they're going for it.
they're
Like they're
trying,
trying to, they are trying. Like they're in that pocket that A24 used to be. Like A24 got like started getting awards, and so they're like, all right, and then so here comes Neon. Neon, I think they produced Anora too, so they might
Yes.
have an award with.
Yes,
So
yes.
like,
Neon produced Anora, so they're like pretty much flying high right now, and
yeah,
producing all this other stuff.
I think that's what it is. Where I'm like, yo,
Yeah.
is the lesson that they're taking a good one? Which was like, yeah, let's do a bunch of these wild like B movies, because they did the monkey long legs,
Legs.
and I think, maybe, hey, I'm down, because like, if it's good, it looks good, but if not, I mean, it can't get worse than long legs. Can't get worse than monkey.
I mean,
It's like,
listen,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
I like both actors involved in
right,
this film. I think Dave Franco and Allison Brie are both very talented. And I think this story will definitely test their chemistry. It's gonna show their dynamics as a couple on screen and everything. And I think that's what's gonna be taken away mostly from this movie right now, is that performance. Because I have no idea what the hell else is going on in this movie, but I do know that these performances look really gnarly right now. And I cannot wait to see more of them together. Because usually, like, when couples do movies, it's it can ignite this whole kind of crazy whirlwind of performances. So I am hoping
right.
we do get that. But again, original horror, folks. Neon is trying it again. Um, this time sans Osgood Perkins. So hopefully that is a good sign, because Perkins is getting annoying with all his
Yeah,
stuff.
like, it's like, it's ultimately like we say, it's an original horror movie that's going to theaters, so we will support it, right? And it's like, and it's not a limited release either. This isn't a Shutter situation. This isn't like a Violent Nature situation where we're going to see a movie that's coming to Shutter like a month later. It's like, no, like, this is getting a wide enough release,
That movie
right?
should have
This
stayed
is
on Shutter, honestly. About nature. What a waste of a movie ticket.
Right. And like, yo, but it, but it gave us a good combo. So I'm like, all right, it paid its due.
It had
We
that
got,
one awesome kill though, so
yeah, and that's the thing. It did have, man, it sucks, right? You want to bash something, but then but our job here is to also be like,
listen,
to be fair.
you take the good, you take the bad, and then you got the facts of life. Right,
Yeah, and
folks?
hopefully we'll have better than that with together. So
Hopefully,
we'll
folks.
hopefully.
Now, coming up next, stay tuned for our feature presentation. And we are back with our feature presentation on today's show. And I am very, very excited to talk about the Thunderbolts. Tex, Marvel's The Thunderbolts. Man, just off the bat, folks, you guys know how we do this. There is stay away from it, which is very self-explanatory. There is a wait for it, which is, hey, you can wait for it to drop on a streamer at home and you can watch it in the comfort of your own couch. And then there is pay for it, meaning you go buy a movie ticket ASAP or subscribe to the streamer so you can watch this movie on a free trial. Of course, we don't want that kind of commitment. But Thunderbolts, folks, this is a pay for it. Go to the movie theaters and watch this movie. If you are a fan of Marvel Comics, Marvel superheroes, Marvel Cinematic Universe, you need to go see this because, folks, Marvel's back, baby. Marvel's back. Say you about this movie.
Oh man. Okay. So I okay. I'm gonna say pay for it. Like in terms of in terms of that's the thing. It's something I have to I'm reckoning with at the moment, and something we'll keep talking about as we talk about
Yes, we will.
we get into spoilers and everything. But it's also like it's the Marvel curve, right? Where it's like we're looking at these things as Marvel fans, but within that bubble, but also grading it as a movie. And sometimes, a lot of the time, a lot of the recent examples we've had are better Marvel movies than they
And they are,
are
yes. Mm-hmm.
movies. I
Yes.
think, yeah, and a lot of the times when we say, oh, we'll wait for it or pay for it, this is like a lot of the times with those other projects, I can just call it out directly with Brave New World, right?
Mm-hmm.
I really liked it as a Marvel movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, but when you look at it and take it apart and piece it as like a movie, you're like, all right,
Yeah.
it's you can stay away from it, right? But as a Marvel fan, I'm like, yo, go see it. It's Captain America. It's setting up future
Yeah.
stuff, right? And so, but thankfully, with Thunderbolts, I think I think I can speak positively on both fronts. For the first time in a while, Arturo, I think
First
you'll
time
agree.
since Endgame?
Uh, I know it's like, do we want to go that far? Because it's like we can get into this too
We
in the
will. We
latter
have plenty of
like
time here.
but just speaking on like the non-spoilery aspects, like I think this is the first one in a while that works well with as a Marvel movie, but also like as a movie. Like it's well made, its characters are fun, like it's kind of brisk. Like it doesn't feel like there's a lot of wasted time.
Mhm.
And when there is like a slowdown, it's for like a character moment. Like it's
Yep.
actually like necessary stuff. Like this isn't like, there's no wasted scene introducing a guy being like, oh, he's from a different movie that, but he's only going to be in this one scene, or like Brave New World. We're not meeting like 30 new characters who are only going to be important then and never
Yeah.
again. And maybe they'll pop up again somewhere. No, it's like every character we see in this movie is a function within the movie. Like this is like it's a movie first, then it's like a Marvel entertainment thing. I think, and just as this is all to say, it's a pay for it like as a movie. Like honestly, if you, I guess, like if you've been kind of like slacking off on the Marvel stuff because of the string that we've had, it's like I don't blame anyone for not seeing this
Oh, of
already,
course. Yeah.
but it's kind of like at this point, well, literally at this point, we're like, we haven't even gotten to the big reveal yet that we kind of need to start the conversation with. But it's also like, yeah, at this point, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's honestly like, I don't know about you, Arturo, but it kind of gave me that Marvel energy again.
Yes,
That
this
like,
is why I'm
right?
so hyped, Tex, because like you said, um, aside from it actually being a technically well executed film on all facets,
Yeah,
performances, editing work, camera work, sound work, characters, CG work, all that stuff, like well executed film from top to bottom.
yeah,
That aside, you have a Marvel movie that actually matters now, Tex.
yeah,
Like to the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right? Um,
right.
and that I think is also one of the biggest takeaways here. It's like, yes, um, like the movie said in all its blurbs, it's like the A24 Marvel movie and also and all this other, blah 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 nonsense. But like what they meant by that, it's like, hey, this is a real movie. It's not just a superhero movie, it's a real movie with a good narrative that you can follow with great pacing, with great actors involved, great performances, great character development, great execution on all three acts of the story. It has an awesome climax. Just all around, this is just a really good movie. But back to the Marvel of it all, it's so important that this movie was as good as it was for Marvel, man, because like as we're gonna talk about, there's a lot in here that we will be seeing moving forward, right, Tex?
Yeah. Yeah, this is kind of like, well, and this is even like getting into spoilers either. Like functionally, it's just Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, and then Doomsday next year. Like it's
Hmm.
literally like it's just this is one of the movies they need, like they needed, literally needed to succeed in order to get to Doomsday.
Yes.
Brave New World should have been that. This is another dig at Brave New
Mm,
World where like it really should have given us a better start to this little path we're on now, because you can imagine a much tighter Brave New World that we could have gotten out of that. But that's in that review. Please go
go
check
check
that
out
one
that.
out.
Yeah, go check out that in the archives.
But it's also like, when you look at Thunderbolts and you're like, man, like it's so good. It's also kind of like raising the stakes quite a bit too. Like this is before we even get into spoilers. I keep saying that because there's like one thing we've been dodging that we haven't like that I don't want to address until we really fully dive in. But like it's kind of putting the pressure on Marvel in that other way of like, yo, Fantastic Four has to be good
Hmm.
and Doomsday has to be good. Because
Yes.
if Doomsday goes back to the like pre Thunderbolts era of movies where they're just kind of like they just make them for the sake of them, and if Doomsday is like Electric State, like then like yo, what happened?
We
Like
got problems.
yeah, it's literally like these movies need to be hits, and I'm glad that now like Thunderbolts is like, oh, okay, now they're getting serious again. They're making a movie first,
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
tie it into the rest of the Marvel stuff. Because, like you said, like this one actually has ramifications for Marvel, so it's good on that Marvel side of things. But it's also like it also rewards you if you actually watched everything that all these characters came from.
Yeah.
And I I don't know. This is tough to speak on because we've watched everything, but also I don't know if I don't think you need all the context. Like I don't think
No,
you need
no, I don't
everything
think
for
you do. I
everyone.
think they do a good job of just saying, "Hey, we work for this lady, and
Yeah, I
she
think
sent us to kill
so.
each other." So I think that alone is enough. I think for a new viewer to be like, "Oh, okay, so these guys are like black ops, kind of anti-hero villains, assassins, whatever." And now they're being betrayed by Valentina.
Yeah,
So
and
like,
I think yeah, I think you're right, Arturo, where it just like I think if you don't know the characters, if you're completely out of the loop, maybe I'd be like, all right,
maybe,
yeah, I'd be
yeah.
like, but I think yeah, if you know just enough about Marvel, like if you saw Black Widow, basically, like
But
you
you know
saw
what though,
Black Widow,
Tex?
you're
But you know what though, Tex? Yes, if you saw Black Widow, you're fine. But if you know who Florence Pugh is,
I
right?
think that's the other thing of
Right?
it, right?
If you
Where
know
it's
who
like
Florence Pugh is, you're good because that is exactly who they're banking on to get people into the theaters and to make this movie as successful as it was. Is the star of the show, Florence Pugh. She has a great supporting cast, but I am pretty sure they are banking on her name, on her brand to bring
yeah,
people in who don't know about superheroes like that.
which is honestly smart because that's your top dog.
Yeah.
That's like like, and now like, and it's so funny because in that same movie you have basically one of the biggest Marvel characters with Bucky, right?
Mhm.
With Sebastian Stan, he's one of the OGs, right? And it's like, okay, so you have an OG Avenger adjacent in this movie, but the real focus is Florence Pugh. It's Yelena, and it's like, you, even if you didn't watch Black Widow, you understand that she's, Black Widow's sister, and now she's going through all this, and they kind of like they center the movie around her, and you get her explaining what she's going through, and you kind of immediately understand, like, oh, okay, like I think there's enough context clues within it that if you don't read all the comics, basically, like you're just jumping into the event movie. I think this one works. Like as oh my god, yeah, like we can get into that too. Like it works as like it's a secret event movie kind of like it's like this is
Yeah.
I think from here on out, just to like kind of remove the cuffs completely, I think we have to go to the big spoiler,
Yeah,
Arturo. So
we have to clarify the title of this movie, as Marvel themselves are actually rectifying the title all throughout, their marketing, because now
yes,
this movie is the new Avengers,
yes. So
and that
that's
is
why.
like I just get goosebumps just saying that, and that's because who thought that that's what was going to happen in this
Yeah,
movie at all?
it's when Thunderbolts. It's so smart because when Thunderbolts was announced, I'm sure there's a recording, there's audio of us saying, "What are they doing? What is this?" It's just
Yes.
all a bunch of like random side characters from these shows and movies that no one cares about, and they threw them into the movie, and now it's just going to be another team, right? Thunderbolts. Who cares? And when you look at the lineup of the Thunderbolts in the comics, or many of the lineups, like the original thing, if I remember correctly, this is actually one I think I remember, is that it was like a government thing with Norman Osborn, and he like disguised them as like heroes. These like it's a bunch of villains he disguised as heroes, and they crowned them like they were the Thunderbolts. They were doing these.
Wasn't it also like part of Thaddeus's Ross? Thaddeus Ross, right?
Yes,
Like
and that
his
was also
nickname
like it
was
was yes, because he was Thunderbolt Ross, and
yeah,
it was like
Thunderbolt
this whole
Ross.
it was this whole thing, and they eventually became like the Dark Avengers, I think, like as one of them. And Norman Osborn had like his own. He did an Iron Man suit that was like all America sized, and it was like because he was the Iron Patriot, and I think that's one of the War Machine ones that Iron Man 2 or 3 that they were kind of paying homage to, of like
Yeah,
the
yep.
America, but sidetracking, this is all to say that like this was nothing like the comics. This wasn't like it wasn't characters people cared about. So they were, and funny enough, this movie absolutely plays into that. It's so smart because when they announced it with that asterisk, Marvel was like, "No, that's a very important thing in the movie," and we're like, "Well, what does that matter?"
Yeah.
And then it turns out it's like, no, because their name wasn't finalized yet, and so at the end of the movie, the title screen is finally revealed because I don't think it actually is before then. Like, I don't
No,
think we
it's
get
not.
like right,
Nope.
yeah. So it hits when it hits that Thunderbolts and it rips away and it says New Avengers. It's like, like
It's like we're back, baby.
yeah, and
Legit, we're back.
but I think Arturo, I'll get your opinion on this. Like, I think it works because like it's such a good movie before that, right? I think
Yeah.
it's because we care about them by that point, right?
Dude, like as you mentioned, right? This movie is about characters who no one cares about. And
yeah,
they themselves say that. Like their lives are falling apart. They are alone. They don't have anyone. And then all of a sudden they find each other, right?
yeah,
Like as cliche as that is, it's true. They find each other, they befriend each other. Like now you care about these characters. You freaking care about Ghost and Walker.
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, and it's so funny because
Red Guardian was fantastic.
yeah, and it's like it's great because they're not like changed immediately either, and it's not like big changes either. Like Walker's introduced as like this asshole, but like the whole thing is he never stops being an asshole. Just
Yeah.
other people kind of weigh him down because they're like, yo, like they take him down pegs because they like say it to his face. And I
Yeah.
think that's the thing. It's like he gets challenged on all that, but
Yeah.
he never stops being an asshole. Like through the movie, like he's still the same character.
He's
You just can
Walker. Yeah.
tell. Yeah, you can tell they kind of softened his edges by like taking him down a peg, right? And it's the same with Ghost. Like, so that's the other thing. Ghost is, they're all full on killers and they kill people as part of their daily lives, but like Ghost kills like someone else who is like in all the marketing. Like,
Yeah. Pretty much. Ghost shoots Taskmaster right
yeah,
in the
like
head.
immediately,
Immediately.
yeah,
So
it's
there's
like
it's not a
the
spoiler, folks. This happens pretty much like 10, 15 minutes into the movie. Like
yeah, and
that.
Taskmaster might be in like all the promotional materials, but she's in the movie maybe like 30 seconds at the most. Like, and before she's shot in the head. So there's no like, oh, and then they burn the whole place down. So there's no like comic booky, oh, she can still come back. She was just shot in the
No
head.
hand popping out of the ashes. No, it's completely
No,
incinerated. Done
yeah,
for.
like they straight up like removed her from the equation. And it's kind of bleak in that like, man, that sucks kind of way, right? You sign up with like you're in a Marvel movie, you don't get any lines, you're in Black Widow, they tell you can come back, you finally get to come back, and it's like, oh, everyone else in the cast gets to go on to be like
Yeah, to be an Avenger, pretty much, right?
yeah, and and it's not like and it's not like she had like a huge career before that either. It's not like an Aaron Taylor Johnson where they killed him off within a single movie, but he still gets to be in other movies, and it's not like when it's I'm struggling to think who they killed off in such a manner, but it's like, yeah, like it's not like a Robert Downey Jr. They're gonna bring him back, it's not like there's it sucks for that. Like what I'm saying is it sucks for that.
Oh,
actress.
we can compare this to episode 2 of Last of Us, folks.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not like the death there, right? Where you're like, at least it was like a story death, and it meant something. Here, Taskmaster just kind of gets shot in the head, and then they move on. Like they literally don't talk to each other until after that. Like
but you know what though, like. To the defense of that sequence and that whole scenario, I think it works because it shows that these people are killers, that they are merciless killers, and that they were just there for a job. That scene in that bunker when they first meet each other is absolutely awesome. Like, I love the fact that they all got to kind of showcase their talents, right? Even Taskmaster, showcased her talents for a second until Ghost showed up out of nowhere and shot her point blank in the head. But again, I kind of dig that because one, we have enough characters to deal with, right? And two, it's like you need to show like some kind of consequence there, especially in the fact that they were all sent to kill each other and not one is going to be able to do that,
Yeah,
I think
that's true.
I think I'm okay with that. I know you have a problem with that because it's like, why even bother having Taskmaster in the whole thing,
I think that's my thing, but ultimately it does. I think you're right in that it doesn't really harm the rest of the movie.
It does not. No.
And in fact, like thinking about it, like Taskmaster's presence, would it have added anything?
It does actually, though. Like, think about it. Her death gave Yelena that emotional beat with Ghost.
That's true. Yeah.
Because like there's a moment after that happens where Ghost recognizes that Yelena knew her, right? And then she goes like, "Oh, did you know her?" And Yelena's like, "Yes, but this is what happens to us,
Yeah, we kill and then we are
kill
killed.
and then we get killed." So I think that alone was super important in terms of continuing this emotional thread that goes on throughout the movie, right? If you didn't have that beat wouldn't be there. And I think that would have lost a little bit of something, even though you still kind of get that emotional stuff later on. But I think early on, you get that very bleak, that very pessimistic version of Yelena, right? Who's down, down in her feelings, just pushing down all her depression, her anxiety, all her mentals, all jacked up because of just the kind of life she lives. And I think
Yeah.
having that sequence like be so like, oh, she's here now, she's gone. That's the life they live, though. You know?
Yeah, and I do like recognize that having like a silent character just be on the screen just to have them doesn't really like would it have changed the movie? Not really.
Especially with all
Like
the back and forth that all these characters had throughout the
yeah,
entire
and it's
film,
kind of
dude.
like yeah, like you're right that there's already so little real estate that like they have to give a lot of it to Florence Pugh for a reason, but it's also like they also have to make sure that we know enough about each of them within the movie, right?
Yeah.
It's like yeah, we get little sometimes this little force like Ghost is like oh if I don't oh my suit that I have to keep on or whatever to explain her powers, and it's like all right but other times it's mostly to make room for like you said for those emotional scenes and what's funny about that is like right after that you get this super fun like theme like this whole sequence of like them trying to escape that bunker in the first
Yeah.
place is just great idea after great idea after like great idea because we get their working together their dynamic of like oh are they going to actually leave each other behind and it's like it's
And we
just
get Bob too, Tex.
yeah, we
Right?
see them forming a team and we see them meeting Bob. Bob is the Sentry, and I didn't know anything about Sentry. So like this was like all new to me.
It
So
it
all I knew
sucks though
was the
that they
void.
didn't get like further explaining his powers because he has the power of the sun and then some.
Oh,
And
okay.
they don't say that there in the movie, which I think it's okay because you don't want to put that kind of power on somebody and not be able to kind of display it at any way. But um they got it right with the Sentry, honestly. Because
Okay.
the Sentry Bob as a character, down on his luck kind of dude. The same kind of story, for pretty much, right? And then what I really want to talk about is what they've really, really got right, Tex, and that's the Void. The Void
Right.
is the, the Sentry's alter ego. You cannot have the Sentry without the Void. You need both. You need light and you need dark. And this is like it works with the power of the sun and dark matter and stuff like that. It gets very intricate when it comes to that. But like you need both. And I really, really like the fact that they showcased the Void and the Sentry was more like a gimmick at first, right? To like put
Yeah,
him
because
into that suit. And I
yeah,
love the
when you
fact that
I
Bob
like that when
also,
you
uh,
like
well, I'm
when
sorry.
you see it. No, it's when you see it, it looks a little funky,
It
right?
looks
Like I
hokey,
think
you know? It looks
yeah,
super hokey. I was like, I'm a huge fan of the Sentry, right? But like I saw it on screen, I was like, okay. But then I love the fact that like Bob is like, what is this? Like, what is this suit? What is this color?
right.
Why did I have to dye my hair blonde? Right? Because the Sentry is a blonde guy in the comics, but he turns all super heroic and stuff. So I'm really glad that they pointed that out, how hokey it did look. And I am really happy that they focused on like the this insane character called the Void that like is just an absolute black hole, man. Like that's pretty much what he is. The Void is the black hole. In the movie, they turned it more into like a pit of
Like mental
despair.
powers. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, like
like
a pit of
it's
despair, like all this
yeah.
stuff. Like it shows you like your darkest fears, your darkest past, regrets, and all that other
Yeah,
stuff.
and like thematically it ties into the rest of the movie,
It's
right? Like
perfect
it's
for the movie,
yeah,
dude, because you
yeah,
have
because
all these anti-heroes who have done bad things, reliving these bad things and coming to terms with themselves as people, as like, holy shit, dude, I did all this bad shit. But then as Yelena was saying, it's like, hey, I'm kind of done with this, man. Like, it's not making me feel good. It's not making me accomplish what I want to accomplish in life. I need to do something different. So I really like the fact, again, it goes back to the great storytelling, the great movie storytelling we have here in this Marvel movie, that they
yeah,
have this character that is completely exposing all the flaws of these other main actors, main protagonists, I should say. And like it really comes to light and it really shows you who these people are. Like it really completes their arc. um I love the fact too that they didn't focus on everybody's like rooms, just
yeah,
like
like
like Elena's main
that's one of
room and
those
stuff.
things where
Yeah.
it's like I wish we would have got. But
I
then,
wish, but it was already over 2 hours at that point.
yeah,
So
yeah, it would have ruined the pacing. Like the
yeah,
movie's smart enough to like, and they kind of play it off as like a like not a joke, but they do address it in the fact that like everyone looks messed up by the time they
yeah,
get to her. So
yeah.
I do like that, and I think that's the thing. It's like they do trust the cast enough by that point to be
Hmm.
like, can they sell that they went through this emotional hell within like a couple of seconds off screen, right?
Of
And
course.
I I do think they do, and it's like it's so like it's these broken people like forming a team, and then that's why when you get the new Avengers reveal at the end, where Valentina, she is selling them as like a new Avengers team to save her own skin, because that was also the underlying plot
Yeah.
of the whole thing, is that she's being investigated by the government for everything she's doing,
Yeah, she's about to
and
get
like
impeached or something from her role in the government or
yeah, and
something.
she's been trying to kill them this whole time because they're loose ends, and
Yes.
then the whole Sentry thing pops up because that was the project, etc., etc. And so the new Avengers thing was to like save her own skin, but also Yelena being like, "We own you, we know
Yeah.
this secret that you're
Yeah.
trying to hide," and it's like, and then they get to become new
The
Avengers,
new
and
Avengers, Tex. The
dude, and
new
it's
Avengers, man.
and what's great about it, Arturo, is that it's a good movie moment, right? Like it's a good movie moment for these characters because
Hmm.
we're like, yo, like they literally went through so much, and now we get to see them get a big win for once,
Hell
right?
yeah.
And
Absolutely.
and then it's big for Marvel. Like this is literally like, oh, you have a new Avengers team. Like this is quite literally like, no, okay, so that's why they're all in Doomsday. This is why like they're in that cast of like, oh, okay, you kind of need the Avengers there.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of too, like we spoke earlier about A Brave New World, right? And in
Right.
Brave New World, they had told Sam Wilson, Captain America, that hey, we want you to be the head of a new Avengers team that we want to,
Yes.
form here. So now, skip to the post credits, folks. There's two post credit scenes in this movie. Now the Sam Wilson Avengers and the new Avengers are like having this dispute, like who the real Avengers are.
Dude, yeah, I
And
love
it's
it.
it's great. It really is good, like good shit, man. It
Yeah,
really is
because it
good shit.
means like it means we're gonna have some like tension between Sam and Bucky, because like Bucky says that
Yes,
Sam is,
yes.
and you're probably right. Like Cap is probably like, yo, what the hell?
What
Like
the
this is,
hell, man?
yeah, and like, yo,
Especially seeing Bucky there because he asked Bucky for his help, remember? And Bucky
yeah,
said, I can't help you. He says, I'm
yes,
doing something
because
else, and we figured
he's
it
a
out, right?
congressman, and he was a congressman for like 2 scenes in this movie, and then he's like, and his that was his story. He's like, yo, this isn't what I should be doing, basically. Of like, he's
Congressman
not getting things,
Barnes.
yeah, he's not getting things done the way he usually does, and it's like, no, he's got to go be an Avenger. And you're right, Cap is probably upset that Bucky didn't join the team, right? And it's like, yo, that's
And
the
funny
thing,
enough, though,
like,
Sam Wilson would have great dynamic with all these characters too.
oh, yo, and
Yeah.
this is probably what we're gonna see in Avengers.
Yes. I
Like
cannot wait.
we're probably we got to get like a Cap and John Walker scene. We got to get like, we're gonna get all that. We're gonna get a Cap working with a Red Guardian again, and like this is gonna be great. Like,
Speaking of Red Guardian, though,
dude, David
David
Harbour,
Harbour.
man,
Oh,
like
like aside from
so
Florence Pugh, fucking MVP, bro. Like,
yeah,
oh my
like
God.
because he was
Every
our
line
comic
this guy had,
relief.
dude,
Yeah,
every line was just hitting. And I'm like, man. And when they got like, when Bucky was like, hey, all right, I'm going to release you. You guys are going to have to help me. And he was like, yes.
yeah,
I
dude.
loved it, man.
Because
Loved
his
it.
whole thing is like from Black Widow too. Like his whole story is like trying to be the hero that he, was told he was in Russia, right? And like relive the glory days. And now he's a new Avenger,
Yeah. How
or
awesome.
the part of the new Avengers with
With
the
the Z at
Z,
the end.
dude. And
Oh,
then
man.
that post credit scene of him with like there on the Wheaties box, and he's
So
just like,
good.
yo, he's trying to say that he's like, that's me on there, It's like,
Love it.
dude, that's
Great payoff, right? Great
dude,
payoff
yeah,
there.
and this is, I think, ultimately, I think that's what it is. It's like it's such a great payoff that we haven't had in one of these Marvel movies in a long time, dude. Like there hasn't been this level of like I walking out and being like, man, I really can't wait to see what's next. And literally,
Since
like,
Endgame, bro. I'm telling you.
Yeah, and literally, like, the post-credit scene finally, like, is actually teasing something. It's not teasing, like, some random new character in a new movie that's gonna happen
Ooh-wee.
forever ago,
No,
right?
it's
Like,
not. Text. You want to get
it
into that?
yeah, like, it's literally a Fantastic Four tease. Like,
Yes, it
so
is.
all of a sudden, they're in their new Avengers tower, great stuff, and apparently which was directed by the Russo bros on the Doomsday set. So this is like, yo, this is why everyone looks so different, in their costumes. This is why
Yeah.
the tower looked different, because it's literally a different set. So like we got our first look at Doomsday with that, basically, of like this is, and so a ship comes in, it has a big four on it.
It has
So
the Fantastic Four logo on it. It's like, oh, an extra dimensional ship is entering the
yes,
atmosphere. And they're like,
so
extra
that
dimensional.
so it
So
confirms that.
that Tex mentioned it as well. Like after we finished watching the movie, he's like, hey, like this is a spoiler for
Yeah,
Fantastic Four,
it could be, dude. Like, so
and it
this
very well much is a spoiler. But I said it in the last episode, folks, when we spoke about the full length trailer of Fantastic Four. That city you see in that trailer, that is not the New York we are used to
yeah,
in the MCU.
and now
And
it's
the fact
confirmed.
that,
Like,
yeah, now it's confirmed. And the fact that they were the only superheroes in that world, right? In that
yeah,
city, definitely, like, it was right there. So it's very exciting because now you're like, okay, this is going to happen. They're going to come into this dimension, but what's going to get them there,
yeah.
right?
Like,
And that's
what's
going to be
gonna
the
happen?
exciting part.
Is it Galactus eating their planet? Is it like, does he eat their planet and Reed's like, is that why they're in trouble in the first place? Does Reed like discover multiple universes and like maybe he's looking up the incursions and stuff like that? Maybe he's figured that out and
Well,
like,
because like rediscovered the quantum zone.
yeah, so maybe that's it.
You know what I mean?
Maybe
Like,
like,
like this is why, like, when we had that Ant-Man shit going on with Quantum Zone and with Pym and all that stuff, and I'm like,
right.
we're missing Reed Richards from the fucking
Yeah, and
equation here. He's the
now
one who
that we have
discovered
him,
it.
yes, and now
Yeah.
that we have him, like it's going to be like, okay, no, it's confirmed that he's from this other universe. What happens? Does their planet get wiped out? Is their entire universe wiped out? Like, is that a thing? Like, something big enough has to happen to get them to escape to another
But as Sue
dimension's
Storm
Earth.
said, they'll get through it as a family.
and but that's the thing. Like, it's this post credit directly teases the next movie, and so
We're
that
back, baby.
how long has it happened since we've gotten that?
We're
Right?
back,
Like,
baby.
we're
The other post-credit scenes before in any Marvel movie before this one and after Endgame have been just nonsense.
they have been
Nonsense. Brave New World, for
1000%.
example, nonsense post-credits, bro.
Yeah, it's just
Nonsense.
another.
So
It's a guy saying the multiverse thing is happening.
yeah.
But it's, I guess the gimmick was, oh, Cap's hearing about it for the first time, but also like, who cares, right? And then like one of the post credits was like, oh, here's Hercules in the Thor world. Who cares?
Who
Like,
cares?
right? But now this one's straight up like, here's Fantastic Four. Oh,
You're like,
I
oh shit, wait,
care.
what?
Yeah,
Fantastic
it's
Four?
like,
But yeah, folks, the Thunderbolts, aka the new Avengers, as you will be seeing this marketing actually getting pushed out. Like they don't care about the spoiler
yeah.
anymore, folks.
If you haven't seen it by now, sorry. We dance around here to be like, to be polite, but also it's like Marvel themselves is already like, yo, if there are any stragglers out there, here's an Avengers movie, and it really is. It feels like an event movie, but like it's just a good movie, dude. Like it's just a good movie that
Yep.
also happens to be Marvel, right?
Yep,
And
exactly.
how long has that been? Or how like I going back to that original question you asked, I think you're right. I think this might be the best post Endgame, unless like does No Way Home count? Like
No,
'cause
it does
maybe
not. It does not. It does not count. No Way Home. I no, because that's Sony stuff, entangled with Marvel stuff. I'm talking
yeah,
about
okay.
MCU direct shit.
Okay,
Like
then
a Kevin
yeah.
Feige, produced, like
Like
fully
the
produced
phase
stuff.
4 and 5 movies, right? So
Yes,
I think
exactly.
yeah, I
Endgame.
think yeah. So I
Endgame,
think
because what we had Wakanda Forever that didn't really do much for us. We had Ant-Man Quantum Verse that
yeah,
didn't
we
do
had
much. We had
the
The
Marvels,
Kang nonsense, the Marvels.
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi, which unfortunately didn't go anywhere. I have hope that he does come back for this because that was a great character and a really good movie too.
Yeah, like why wouldn't you bring him back as an Avenger? Like you
It
need
makes sense.
bodies. Yeah, you
It
need
makes total
bodies.
sense. It makes total sense. And the guy's a star, so he definitely wants to go back. I heard in an interview that he would like to do more Shang-Chi. So
Yeah, like of course, because it's
yeah,
like, yo,
folks,
he probably
like
got promised that.
Marvel is back, folks.
Marvel
Marvel
is back.
is back. That is the biggest takeaway from the new Avengers slash Thunderbolts, that Marvel is back and they're finally back in the driver's seat where they held that position for so long. The ball now will be going to DC's court with Superman. Now, will Superman be as good as Thunderbolts? You
And
know what I mean?
will Fantastic Four be as good as Superman? Like it's
We
and
shall see, folks, and we will
that
be
movie's
here for you
like
because,
we're gonna soon be
man,
like we're gonna be looking at this movie year as like pre-Superman and post-Superman.
yep,
So like
exactly.
we're right now, Thunderbolts is the best comic book thing we've gotten, and let's see how the
BS
year
and
takes
PS.
us.
Before
Yeah.
soups, post soups. All right, that's the new timeline of the morgue, folks. All right, BS and PS. So
Right.
BS right now, we have the new Avengers, which honestly, really great movie, and those other superhero flicks, they have to work hard to get to there, man. Because
Yeah.
as you said, Tex, um, first and foremost, this is a good movie.
Yeah.
Like, superhero characters aside, the movie itself is
Dude,
really good and really well done. And
they
that's
can't
the most
they can't
important
go
thing
back
too.
to the same shit anymore, Arturo. Like
Ain't no going back. Ain't no coming
I
back.
think like if Doomsday just sucks, dude, like it's just like they can't go
Which is
back.
a possibility, right?
It might
Because
be
there's
because
so
they're
many things going on in that movie that I
yeah,
don't know what the hell's happening with
and
the movie story.
they're literally just throwing it together. Like this is like, yo, they're scrambling. So it's like, yo, we got
Legit went all in
Thunderbolts.
on like all in at the poker table. And they're like, hey, this is
Yes.
all in. We're giving this, our checkbook wide open for all these actors. And time will
They
tell,
had to.
Tex.
They had
Time
to. So
will
we'll
tell. But yeah, folks, that was our feature presentation. Go watch Thunderbolts in theaters now. That is our recommendation for the show as well. Go watch Thunderbolts. Catch up on any Marvel stuff you want. I know there are some really good YouTube videos out there that will catch you up in like 20 minutes or so instead of watching hours and hours of movies. So go check that out if you do want to find out who all these characters are. Go pay for the movie ticket. And remember, folks, this has been episode 230 of The Morgue, the official CorpseFeed podcast. I am Arturo Padilla, the guy behind the face, and with me always is Mr. Nick Valdez. A big shout out goes to Delvirus for all the artwork you've seen in front of you for the last 10 years. And a big shout out goes to you guys for listening. We have 229 of these episodes anywhere you get your podcast streams. Please leave us a review, a comment. We would highly appreciate it. And folks, stay tuned for the Morgue official YouTube channel, also where you can find only more content on there. That will be up and running this week. Please go like, subscribe, and share with all your buddies. And go check out the socials, folks. We are everywhere. And most importantly, guys, remember, it is a scary world out there, but we are here to walk you through it.